Thank you for joining us for another episode of Sistah Girls Night In. Today we're joined by Miss Candice. Miss Candice is a best-selling urban romance author from Detroit, Michigan, with over 70 novels under her belt. She debuted part one of her first series, If Not for Love, in October 2014, with a part three gracing the number one spot on Amazon's Urban Life bestsellers list. Since then, she's penned several other unforgettable best-selling series, including Soul Ties and The Drug Called You. Hey, sister girl,
Hey, sister girl.
how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fine. So we're going to start off with a couple of questions for your fans. Okay.
Okay. Hmm?
Do you have a writing routine?
Nope, not really. I really just jump right in.
Really? You don't outline
Yeah.
anything?
No, I freestyle.
Wow.
I just, I might
Wow.
think of an idea. Like I might be like, okay, this time, like say for instance, how I just came off of, Soul Ties. That was a heavy book, so I'd be like, you know what? I need a little break. So the next book is not gonna be as heavy. I'm gonna write about this or that, but I never outline. When I try to outline, it don't work out. I just be like, I don't
Wow.
even use what I outline. So I just
That-
freestyle.
That's good. I see a lot of authors say that too. They just, they start freestyling, so that's their natural talent.
Yeah.
Is there a genre you want to write about but you're scared to?
Nope. I love like I'm not scared to write about anything because that's the thing I love about fiction because you could be free. You can write about anything.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Is there something later you learned later in your career that you would want other new authors to know?
Oh, absolutely. The most important thing to know is to shut the worst. Gotta back up. To shut the rest of the world out and focus on writing. Don't worry so much about the readers. Of course, the readers play a major part, but when it comes to creativity, you have to focus on writing what you want to write. Um, a lot of new authors come into the industry with publishers, and sometimes publishers, they have certain ways to go about things, and new authors have to realize that certain ways to go about writing won't work for them the way it will work for other authors. So you have to write what works for you. Um, and just shut out the outside noise. Focus on your craft, write the books that you want to read. Um, and just, don't always try to follow the trends. Stay authentic to who you are as an author, as a creative. Um, don't change anything about yourself unless it's a good change. Take criticism, constructive criticism, and apply it to your craft. Because I know a lot of times, um, new authors will come into the industry and they would see the negative reviews and they be like, oh, they just jealous, they just hating on me. But a lot of times they not jealous and hating on you. A lot of times you should take those reviews and apply it. Obviously take it with a grain of salt. If it makes sense, if they're not tearing you down, if it's constructive, like I said, actually look at what they're saying and apply it to your writing. Don't just brush it off as someone hating or whatever, because realistically, your friends and your family not gonna be honest with you about your writing. The
Okay.
honesty and the true genuine feedback you're gonna get is from a stranger. So, listen and take it and apply it.
So you encourage the reading of reviews.
Yeah, but the thing about that is you can't fall down a rabbit hole of the reviews. You gotta have a strong mindset when it comes to it. Because a lot of times the reviews could you know, it could discourage you. But like I said, you have to kind of weed out the BS to say, like, because a lot of times the reviews could a 1-star review could be based on, I'm mad that this book ended on a cliffhanger. This irritating. That's nothing. Ignore that. Oh, the 1-star review could be, then it could be, oh, she's kind of wordy, like with me. that's not a one star review, but I get reviews say like, oh, she kind of wordy. I kind of forgot what she was talking about because the narration was kind of long. To me, that's a constructive, review. I apply that to my writing. I say, what, okay, so for now, I'm going to make sure that I minimize how much narration I have because I can get long winded. I am wordy. I know that. So I would apply that. You know what I'm saying? So what you have to do is you have to weed them out. And again, you have to have a strong mental. You can't fall down the rabbit hole of the reviews either. You just have to have thick skin and be open to constructive criticism. You can't come in the industry thinking that I'm just great. I'm this, I'm that. It's good to have confidence, but you can't come in expecting everybody to like what you write because that's the quickest way to lose like the confidence you have and to um to get discouraged. You just have to be open to it, to constructive criticism.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the stigma that comes with urban books?
Um, it's annoying, and I see a lot of it on TikTok. A whole lot of it. Um, for me, I try to ignore it because I try to. I don't like to be a part of a lot of how can I word this? I won't say drama, but I don't like to be a part of a lot of negative conversation. So I try to avoid seeing that kind of stuff because I am really passionate about it because
Mhm.
the negative stigma attached to it comes from a place of lack of knowledge. They don't understand it
Totally agree.
because in a sense, urban romance, urban fiction is not just drug dealing, it's not just killing. Um, Beautiful love stories come out of ugly places. That's
Hmm.
really what urban romance is about. And I wouldn't even say ugly places. I would just say places that are deemed ugly. The struggle. And what's so bad about writing about that? There's a lot of um, young black girls who wants those fairy tale love stories too, but they don't want to read about stuff that they're not used to seeing. They want to read about the girl that look like them, the girl who struggles like them, but she gets the Prince Charming too. She gets the
Oh,
happy ever after too. That's what it's about. That's what urban romance is a representation of, like hope.
I
It's
totally,
gives them hope too.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for that answer because you know, I've been in like book groups and they say, I didn't know this was urban fiction. If it was, I wouldn't have purchased it. I'm like, not all authors are created equal. You can actually like urban fiction. You don't have to, disregard the
Exactly.
genre altogether. That makes no sense to me.
If you
No,
don't like something, just don't read it. You don't have to speak on it. Like that's what I see that so much on TikTok, and it's like if you don't like something, just don't talk about it. Like if you don't see people running around talking about, oh, a certain food they don't like unprovoked. Like no one asked you if you don't like it. And why are you talking about just don't talk about it. There's nothing for you to bring. Don't talk about it. If you don't like
and they
urban
focus
fiction,
on the bad.
yeah,
They
and it's not
focus
all bad.
on
It's not all bad. I love my genre. I love writing about it because it shows kind of like the rose that grew out of concrete. Like I love building a character up. I love pulling a, I'm gonna say damaged young man who's not used to being emotionally available, giving him love, or even with the woman, I love just building them up and giving them more. You know what I'm saying? Because that doesn't happen a lot, obviously. But I want to just urban fiction, urban romance. It gives them hope, give us hope. People who still live in those communities, they can go to the library or go to the store and get a book with a girl on the cover to look like her. It's just representation matters a lot. So that's what to me, that's what urban romance, urban fiction is to me. Representation in different communities that needs it. It's not all bad. It's the same thing with music. Like it's not all bad all the time. It's just when the conversation is that, woo.
Yeah, but yeah, because and then sometimes I have to sit back and don't not even comment or reply to the negative views because it's I had to say the other day, not all urban fiction art authors are the same. Not all
Yeah.
not all their storylines will be the same. You can't just deem a whole genre as bad because you've had a couple of bad experiences.
Yeah.
But like you said, that's if we talk about it, we'll be talking about it all
Yeah.
day.
And then like urban, there is like you said, it's such a wide range. It's not
It is.
urban romance. It's not just urban street. It's street lit. It's urban fiction. It's urban romance. It's so much.
Hmm.
Like it's so much that falls under those categories. It's ridiculous. And for you to just like deem one category of bad just because you've read a few bad books is ridiculous. Like we're not all the same. Like we don't all view it the same. We don't all write the same. It's totally different.
Hmm.
That's the same thing as saying all black people the same or all white people the same. Everyone is different.
So with this book, Soul Ties, I actually what and I say this a lot. I love reading. I don't watch TV at all. I read. I read. That's my escape. That's my safe place. So when I was reading Soul Ties, that was actually recommended to me by Diane. She's on the Diamonds World.
Mhm.
You know, and I I really was drawn in by the storyline. And the reason why is because I don't think I've ever rooted for a mistress before.
Me.
And me me rooting for this mistress means that I was given a side that I'm not used to. I want the marriage to work. I want you to work on the marriage, but in this book, I didn't want him to work on anything with his wife. I wanted him to leave Leighton for Sienna. It was just, it was different. That's what I'm gonna say. This storyline was different. It's something like we just spoke about. Like all storylines are not created equal. This
Mhm.
definitely was one of them ones where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna, I'm gonna let them slide. I'm not. It's not gonna be an issue if they get together. But in the book we are introduced to Sienna first, and she has a IG famous boyfriend, and baby, this man right here is he got caught cheating. They started working on, but she never forgave him for cheating. It was just always in the back of her mind, and that's usually what happens when you break the trust
Mhm.
in a relationship. It's always that second guessing or questioning, even if you're working, like he said he was. It was always, well, are you really working? And I didn't like him from the beginning. I thought Amiri was full of shit. If I can say, it's like I just knew that he didn't change, and I don't know if it was me just hoping that she moved on and found something better, but that's what it was.
Yeah.
So we meet Sienna, and her boyfriend Amiri, and we meet Naoki, in the beginning where she's asking her about her New Year's plans. What I did like about Naoki is that she encouraged Sienna, but she didn't, she wasn't one of them friends calling her stupid and all that. I think she empathized with her what she was going through. She knows she deserved better, but she didn't beat her across the head with it.
Yeah.
So Naoki was one of them friends that I could rock with. She wasn't annoying. However, we had another best friend. We had Farrah. Farrah was the most annoying friend I've ever read about. And I say that with a straight face. The most annoying, the most trifling, the most disrespectful
Mhm.
friend I've ever read about. And I just want to know What was it like writing Farrah?
Um, it was hard because I really wanted her to get beat up. I wanted her to get beat up so bad. But I had to remember, like, the story I was writing was not about that. But yeah, it was hard for me to write because it's like, but then again, it was like, because like I said, well, I said before, I always say, um, I kind of become my characters. So it's like I understood her, but then again, like I would never be her, but I understood her because she was bitter. So when a person is bitter, um, they act like that. When they're bitter, they see somebody else happy and they got what they want, and they don't want you to be happy. They want you to be bitter like them. So she was just projecting. She was just trying to bring Leighton down with her. Like, oh, be miserable too. Misery loves company.
You know what? And honestly, when I was reading it, I didn't really. I saw miserable, but I didn't think she wanted Leighton to be miserable, so to speak. From the beginning, I'm like, she's gay, and I don't know why I thought that, but I'm just like, there's no way. I didn't see bitter. I just saw she wants her, and you know,
It was a lot. It was a lot with her. It was a
yes.
lot, a whole lot. She was possessive. She was bitter. Did it mess up? Oh, okay. I thought I messed up. She was a lot. It was a lot with her. She was bitter because she didn't have her husband anymore. She didn't have what Leighton had. She didn't have a good man. And then like she felt like she was losing Leighton to Jihad. She wanted, obviously that's revealed eventually, but she was possessive over her. And she just it was a lot with Leighton. I mean with it was a lot with Farrah.
And I
Uh,
didn't understand the losing her part because she had been married for to this guy for years. It wasn't like she just up and got married. They had been married for years.
yeah.
I
But then Farrah had just recently like lost her husband. Not recent, but she was lonely. So she was
yes.
like,
Now so
oh, I need this to listen, this gotta end because I don't need you over here with me all the time. We gotta be together. Like we gotta be, like she was miserable and she just I don't know, she just like misery it manifests in various ways.
hmm
Um it has different layers to it. So that's just Farrah was just an ugly person all around.
uh,
She was a good person.
360.
Yeah.
360. So the book starts where we found out that Sienna's boyfriend isn't going to be with her for New Year's Eve. He has you know a gig to do. He's working. My problem with Amiri was he didn't bring her. Most people when they have to work, they'll invite their significant other. It was like he wanted to keep her away from that side of him at all times. That's why I felt he was cheating. I'm like, he ain't no good because it on a holiday you don't want your girl with you.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. It's red flags.
yes, it was like red flags, smoke bombs, everything going off, alarms. Like with him, Amiri was a piece of. Not say that with all due respect. I don't think he understood what it was like to be a boyfriend.
Hmm.
And I think that would happen with no matter who he's with.
Hmm.
He's just not that type of person to put any woman before his money, put any woman before his career.
Very
Um,
straightforward.
yeah, he thrive off popularity.
Hmm.
In that type of lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we met him, and then we meet Jihad, and we meet Leighton, and Leighton kind of throws me for a loop because she's bedridden with a pregnancy, um, and she has a lot of complications, and she offers her husband a hall pass to cheat on her when
Hmm.
he never mentioned sex.
Yeah.
never showed, any signs that he wanted to be another woman, and she literally encouraged it. Now, I tried to understand it. I
See?
couldn't.
Yeah, that's insecurities, trying to jump ahead of something before it happens.
And I mean, you were that insecure that, and it was one scene. He said, "You thought the me, you looked down on me so much that you thought I couldn't wait 9 months."
It's,
Okay, so with late and then this hall pass, I couldn't understand it, and it was his anger when she gave it to, like, he was angry when
yeah,
she kept bringing it up, and she got angry because he was angry. I'm like, oh my god. Like, let this man be a husband to you. He's not worried about anything else. He's worried about the safety of his child, the safety of his wife. And I don't understand how she didn't get that. Seeing as though he didn't show any signs of being anything other than a devoted husband to her.
it's kind of like insanity. Because you got to really like think about it. She was literally in a bed all day. He would
Yeah.
leave. He got the opportunity to leave. So she was in bed all day thinking. Her mind was constantly racing. And she like, okay, he said he here, he said he there, but is he really there? Who is he with? And then you gotta think about it. Jihad, yeah, he was good when they was married, but he hadn't always had a good, squeaky clean background. He cheat back when they was younger. So she, she thinking like, damn, well, let me give him a hard pass just in case because he hadn't. I know Jihad, he has a aggressive appetite. So let me just go ahead and just get ahead of this because he might end up doing this. And I've been lacking in this department. I hadn't made sex like a chore. I hadn't given him this, I hadn't given him that. So she just laying there thinking all day, like she was driving herself crazy, literally. Like
And you're
crazy.
right. You're
Um,
right. I never thought of that being
yeah,
in
so
bed all day.
it's like when a person don't have anything else to do but think all day. And I feel like you want to make some crazy decisions, and you're gonna drive yourself crazy because all you're doing is thinking. She couldn't paint because like she was stressed out about the baby. Um, all she really had was fear. Fear was constantly like a poison. Her
Uh,
sister wasn't coming around. Her parents are older. Now she didn't really have no real friends. She was depressed. So she wasn't in the right headspace. So she like constantly she driving him insane. Like it just was a mess.
mm-hmm.
So that's why she was just like trying to get ahead of it. Insecurities and thinking that she was making the right decision. And she felt like she owed him that too. And she felt like she was secure. Well, she was confident but insecure. She was confident in the fact that you played like, okay, this is Jihad. Yeah, I'm insecure in the fact that maybe he might do this, so I'm gonna give him the pass. But I'm confident in the fact that knowing that if I give him this pass, he's gonna be back with me. It's not gonna hurt us because I'm Leighton. We Leighton and Jihad, we locked in. So I'm not worried about him catching feelings for nobody. He can go ahead and have some unattached sex. I don't care about that. And it'll be nothing.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because he all like in the past, he used to cheat and he was obsessed with her. Like they was locked in. They was had a bond. So she wasn't worried about him forming an emotional connection with anybody. So she didn't really care too much about the physical. She just wanted him to get a release or whatever. She wanted to give him permission because, like I said, she was afraid that he would cheat, and then it wouldn't really be cheating because she told him to.
I got you. I got you. So with Jihad, it seems like, despite his past, he grew into this loving, caring husband. He
Hmm.
really, really did love Leighton, even though she started treating him like, it was a sperm bank.
Yeah,
And I saw, like, he was saying that, becoming pregnant was became an obsession. Carrying a baby full term became an obsession. Like, I guess she felt incomplete that she couldn't give him a child, and it really put a damper on their marriage. Like, she made their marriage miserable
yeah,
because it seems like he was trying and she made their life miserable. Was that influenced by Pharaoh, or that was in her own mind?
That was all her. Because Farrah, see, Farrah didn't have any children. So that was literally all her. Leighton wanted the baby. Jahad, he wanted a baby too, but like after all the miscarriages and stuff, he was content with not having a child. I mean, he wanted to do the whole surrogacy thing or adoption, but Leighton said, if it ain't coming from me,
I don't want
I
it.
don't want it. Like it was like her way or the highway. So that's why she would get so mad when he would constantly refuse the hall pass because Jihad had her spoiled. He would give her anything she wanted. Like there was no telling Leighton no. So that was where the issue with her getting upset with the hall pass thing and the whole thing with the constantly trying to get pregnant, the constant switching of the doulas. Like she was spoiled. He gave
Oh,
what she wanted.
the constant switching. So with, and that's what I wanted to ask. With Sienna, being the you know the I'm sorry, the doula. Hold on, let me start over.
Mhm.
With Sienna being a doula, it was there an attraction that made her like it, or was it that Sienna also had losses and that's what made them bond? Because that's what I was split between.
It was the bonding. It was the fact that
Okay.
they both, had like similar backgrounds and with the losses and Leighton felt like she saw a lot of Sienna, like her stuff inside of Sienna.
Okay.
So, it was that, you know.
Okay. So I want to go back. Sienna and Amiri were having issues. She found out he was cheating. And she just wanted to go out and do something different. And she used an invitation that she received from, of all people, her sister, her happily, or so she thought, happily married sister, left the invitation on her car. And at first she gave it to Naoki. And it was so funny. Naoki was so excited. I get to do this, I get to do that. And when she called, they told her, her information didn't line up so that, she couldn't use the invitation. And she was she was pissed. That show was so funny. Naoki was pissed. She was about to have the time of her life.
Right.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her. Son, you got to see for yourself.
Right.
So, Sienna ends up using the hall pass. I mean, I'm sorry, not the hall pass, the invitation. Jihad uses his hall pass. They, again, they connect that night. Um, but they didn't think they'll ever see each other again, and especially her with giving him the wrong name.
Right.
She told him her name was Naoki. So after that night, it was a passionate night. And I think we saw the chemistry then
Hmm.
and there. Like when they ran into each other, it was instant chemistry. So when when it goes on and you find out she's the doula, you're like, oh, and
Right.
he tells her, and it's something I would have took. He tells her, I want to fire you. I want you to quit because I can't fire you, but I want to pay you. And she didn't take it. I would have took that money.
I would have too. Like,
I
okay.
would have took that money. She did not want the money. She wanted to do her job, and I think it had a lot to do with her again. Like you said, her and Leighton had a lot of things in common. She
Mhm.
didn't want to be home bored. She
Yeah.
didn't have a boyfriend. She had Naoki. Naoki was travel nurse, so she
Mhm.
wasn't there a lot. And it was like, I'd rather work and have to deal with knowing that you're married every day than take this money from you just so I have something to do.
And then she was kind of like offended, like, I don't want your money. I'm not no prostitute. Like, no, I ain't taking your money. But then she tried to. Remember, she tried to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then her friend like, her boss like, I don't know, because that's the best. That's the best
Yeah,
case.
they keep calling you. You know, she wants you. Like Leighton was adamant with having Sienna there. She was like, I want her. Nobody else left. I think she was firing people left and right at that point. Like, no, I want Sienna back. So when she returned, it was like that's when I was like, man, I I wanted. The thing is, I did feel her and Leighton had a bond.
Hmm.
They had the most beautiful relationship to me out of all the characters in the book.
That was like one of my main things. I didn't want anybody to be um shown in a, even though Leighton was kind of shown in the bad light, I didn't want anybody shown in the bad light because that's I didn't want there to be a villain. There was no
Mm,
villain. Because to me, Leighton was only showing a bad light because Leighton was going through things. But a lot of readers, they don't really understand that. But I guess I can because, like I said, I become the character. So I kind of couldn't read. I can kind of understand. But it was really important for me to make to give a good relationship between Sienna and Leighton because they were soul ties too. Soul ties aren't always romantic.
yeah. And I'm glad you said that. So their relationship was what you would expect from a doula. You want her to, treat you like a human. You want her to bond with you. You want her to, basically know your how do you call it? Your wants and needs.
Mhm.
Like she knew she wanted juice in the morning. She started her day with juice. Is they sat there, they watched TV, they had a routine, and
Yeah.
she was comfortable. Both of them, they were comfortable with each other. So we saw that bond, and it's like she's so nasty to Jihad, and you feel
Yeah.
like Sienna would be better with Jihad, but I'm sorry, Leighton and Sienna really did have a beautiful relationship. They bonded from the beginning.
Hmm.
And remember, she thought she scared her away because she was still pregnant and Sienna couldn't keep hers.
Yeah.
That was, oh man, that
But
was,
then also she like Leighton had a lot of she didn't love herself. So when Sienna left, she thought it was because of her. Um she just thought like, am I really that horrible? Like, am I that hard to be around? Like she struggled with a lot of the like a lack of self love. Like she thought that she was just so horrible. But the thing is, she didn't want to be horrible to Jihad. She didn't want to treat him bad. It's just when a person is really going through something mentally and they're like depressed and they constantly having losses in their, like with her, she's pregnant finally and she's on bed rest and she's dealing with the constant worry. She's constantly checking her baby's heartbeat and she's like obsessed with it and she's under a lot of pressure and she feels like she's not enough for her great husband. It's kind of like she kind of like, oh, he's so good to me, but like why he's so good to me? I'm just so horrible. And it's kind of like you start to resent him for being so good to you when you know you don't feel like you deserve it. And you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like uh what did I say? It wasn't for her. It was it's kind of like a thing where she just didn't love herself. So it was hard for her to receive the love that Jihad gave her.
mm.
So she reciprocated his love with resentment and she just was like just nasty to him because she didn't know how to love him.
And I equated how Leighton was because when I was pregnant, I was mean.
Mm.
I was so mean. And it's like I know I be mean and I just start crying
Yeah.
immediately after. So I understood the hormones, your body and your mind plays tricks on you when you are pregnant and after birth. So
Yep.
it's like, I was so snappy. I was so mean to my baby daddy. I was mean to everybody. And
Yeah.
it's like, I went from being this happy go lucky person to I'm just mean and I couldn't help it. And I know I'm being mean, but it's
Yeah.
nothing I can do about it. And it was crazy because my baby daddy was like, it's a man in your head talking to you. Like, he just was
Yeah.
like, Oh my God. But I understood Leighton what she was going through because I went through that too. I wasn't as mean as her, but
Hmm.
I will be snappy. You know, I will want certain things, and when I can't get it, like, you know, I want Subway 2 o'clock in the morning. Subway is not open. So I'm pissed at everybody until Subway opens the
Right.
next. Like it was that kind of mean.
Yeah.
But with Leighton, it's like again, you brought up the self-love thing, and you know, her not thinking she was deserving
Mhm.
of him because she was such a horrible person, when in fact, you know, he wanted her to get better. He wanted her to be happy. That was one of his main things. He wanted her to be happy, and he did everything to keep her happy, as far as going through doulas, as far as, you know, making sure every all her needs was taken care of before he left. And
Mhm.
when he came back, she was the first person he acknowledged. When
Yeah.
he came back in the house, he gave her the, you know, came, checked on her, gave her a kiss. What I didn't like, and I, you know, I felt like um Leighton let Farrah cross lines that I just thought were uh too disrespectful.
Mhm.
You laying in the bed that I share with my husband on his side of the bed. When he walks in through my bedroom door, you shouldn't have been allowed to even sit on that bed. I hated every time I read she was in his parking spot. She was in his bed. I'm like, that's why I'm like, is she gay? Because she wants that masculine. She projected masculine energy to me, and I'm like, she wants to be the head of the household. You know,
Mhm.
I couldn't understand it. Well, you know, I'm like, that's what made me think maybe she's gay, because she wanted to project herself as the husband.
Yeah. She just wanted, yeah, that's pretty much it. She wanted to be head of Leighton. She wanted to be in control. She wanted to be the one that was in charge of Leighton pretty much. That's why like the whole doula situation, how she would be like, I'll take care of you, or I'm
Yes.
your wife, or like, where you at, and stuff like that. Like she was really possessive over Leighton. And um I drop little, what you call those, like Easter eggs in the book, um
Hmm.
about certain things that led up to like that big reveal about the kitchen with them two. Um
Uh-huh.
like how when Jihad came home and Pharaoh was in the bed, and she's like, "Oh, you gotta get up, you gotta wake up and get out of here," because like, and then he walked in the room. No, not that part. The part when Jihad walked in the room and he saw Pharaoh laying in the bed, he looked at her and she got up. That scene, it's like he had a feeling about certain things, but obviously I didn't put it in the book because I like to leave little hints. I don't like to expose too much about stuff. Just like to see if people would catch it. But yeah, like he had a feeling about certain things, and he didn't say anything about it. It was kind of like something that went without him addressing it. Like he knew,
Yeah.
but he picked up on certain things with that situation. But yeah, she was very, very disrespectful.
So
And Jahad was just to the point where he was just
the back and
tired.
forth.
He was tired. He just was like, listen, if she wanna be there, fuck it. Let her be there. Here, she can fuck there. If she wanna sleep there, she can do it. Like he was really that Leighton had really drove that man crazy. And like I get so much, not so much, because some people understand the whole situation, but I get a lot of like people not liking the fact that he took the hard pass, or and like what he did. But it's like y'all have to realize this man had been trying. Well, he's like he had been holding on to, his hands was bleeding. He had been holding on forever. He had been trying.
She
Tired.
stressed him
And
out.
he just was to a point where, like, what about him? Like, what about him? What about what he need emotionally? Like, he's a man, yeah, but he still feel things, and she wasn't. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he just got to a point where he didn't care. If you want this lady, if you want your best friend to park in my spot, okay. If you want her to be sitting in the cook's home and messing my kitchen up, okay. I'm not saying nothing. I'm not arguing about it. I'm not saying nothing. Just do what y'all want to do. Whatever.
And another thing with Jahad, it's like he had just stress coming from everywhere. He had his dad. His dad was sick. You know,
But he didn't get sick to the end though. But it was just
yeah,
of yeah,
he found out he was sick, but the disrespect coming from his dad,
yeah,
with him wanting to ignore, he wanted him to focus more on his career than his child,
yeah,
than his family. It's like he frowned on anything but making money. And Jahad was just sick of his dad. He was sick of Leighton. You know, it's like I go from the family business. Well, I'm sick of my dad. Everything about him, bothers me. And then I have to come home to this. I think Sienna was just a way, just like, let
hmm,
me breathe.
yep, and
That
it's
was his way to breathe.
yeah,
Um, and as it goes on, his he tries to stay away from her. He tries to avoid her, and she does as well. They try and make it a professional
mhm,
relationship. However, that soul tie, they kept meeting up. At seeing each other out and about when they were at the club. And you know, job. It was just like it was meant to be. And
yeah,
again, you don't want that to happen for someone else's husband,
right,
but it is what it is. I think I was more happy when he was with Sienna than I was when he was with Leighton, because he tried and he tried and he tried with Leighton until he couldn't try anymore.
exactly.
So it came to a head. I think when the maid caught them, that right there was a shock. I'm like, oh my God. Like, I think I put the book down because I was so embarrassed. I was embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, the maid walked in on them. Oh my God.
Did you?
And it's,
What do you think it was? When because I didn't swear.
you know what? When the light switch went on, I don't know who I thought it would be. It was just like, oh my God, who caught them? But when I found out it was May, I felt better that it was the maid, because that's his employee, so she's not gonna run and tell
Mhm.
anything. But it was just like, oh my God, I would rather it had been late in catching them.
Really?
I don't know why, because I think the maid catching, it's like when someone older like that,
Hmm.
who's been working up for him. I think it was more embarrassing
Yeah,
for her to catch them, because I still have to see this lady all
yeah,
the time, knowing that she knows my secret.
right. And then when he was, oh yeah, that was kind of crazy. Oh my
It
God.
was one of those moments where you like, oh. So that was a good one. And then you know as it goes on, we see that that moment leads to what we find out is a pregnancy for Sienna.
Hmm.
Oh man, I
Oh
think that was so hard,
yeah,
hearing about reading that she miscarried.
yeah. And she was so mean to him too. Like Jahad was getting beat. His little heart was just getting battered, and then he cleaned it up for her and stuff. But she was mean. She was mean because she had to be mean. But that was hard
She
for me.
was just, I think she was just tired. She was just over it. Like, I cannot carry full term. I'm just having problems. The man I want to be with, he's married. The man who I gave my heart to, he cheats on me. So it was like, it was stress coming from every aspect of her too. And then when she found out what she thought was, the perfect marriage with Mahogany and her husband, kind of found out Mahogany's,
Yeah,
the woman I observed, having sex with multiple men in the middle of the club. And also the person who gave me the invite. Oh my God.
that's crazy. Like
It was like
what's
my
going on
own.
with these spouses?
Now, when I found out it was Mahogany, I was like, "Oh my!" I don't know why I thought a stranger was watching her,
Is that a stranger?
because yes, didn't think it was anybody that she personally knew that gave her
You
that
know her name,
invitation.
though? Her name
I
was on it.
huh?
Her name was on the invitation. Remember, and Naoki was like,
I
"This."
know, but I felt like you know how people
Oh
know you, but you don't really know them like
yeah,
that. So I felt it was like a stranger that knew of her, maybe a client or someone she
yeah.
saw on Facebook or was friends with on Facebook or social media gave her that. I would have never thought it was Mahogany.
I didn't know it was mahogany either when I started. That just came to me. I'm like, oh, you know what?
So what? Let's talk about Mahogany. Like
Oh,
she's this, what you think a cookie cutter wife with a good business, has a husband that works late at night. She keeps the kids, and randomly you see the mask that she used to basically cover her face being worn by her daughter. Oh my god,
oh my God.
the secondhand embarrassment Sienna had to feel seeing that. And then when Mahogany found out, when Mahogany found out, she knew it was, that, what, and she questions her marriage. And I don't think Mahogany was ready to talk. She wasn't ready to reveal that part of her to
Mhm.
Sienna yet.
No, she got some skeletons, but her, well, it's gonna be fun to write about her.
Oh, we get a Mahogany book.
Yeah. Well, it's not gonna be fun. I'm not. It's not gonna be fun to write about her, but it's gonna be. That's gonna be a nice, not a nice story. It's gonna be an entertaining story. I think y'all are gonna enjoy that one.
Oh man,
Yeah,
I'm ready for that because I
yeah,
wanted to know, like, you think
it's
you're this cookie cutter wife with this cookie cutter family, and yeah,
yeah. And then that's the sister, the daughter that the mother puts on a pedestal. Oh, mahogany, she this
yes.
and she that. Mahogany got some shit with
So why was Sienna's mom so hard on her?
her. Because well, I guess some moms are like that. They just want their daughter to have a life, to get married and have children, and then with Sienna not telling people like about her miscarriages and stuff. It's like, what's going on? Like,
Okay.
and then like you have Hazel, who's the free spirit. Like, of course,
Yeah.
you're not expecting Hazel to have children and have a husband because like it's Hazel, but Sienna, she was in a relationship for all those years and stuff like that, and it's like, where's the babies? Where? Why? What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So her mother is just like putting a lot of pressure on her, pretty
And
much. Like,
the
girl,
fact that her mother didn't know, that was another thing.
mhm,
She was too embarrassed to share with her mom. Like,
yeah,
wow.
she's like
So
Sienna's carried a lot too.
yeah, yeah. And Jihad's brothers, Saint and Blaze, we met them through the book, and then you wrote a spinoff with Saint, and Naoki. Are we getting anything from Blaze?
Yeah, he's after Saint.
Oh, okay.
That's gonna be good too.
Of course, with what we read
Blaze
about him
is,
in the book,
Blaze is
Jesus.
a character. He's a character. Then what he got going on with his polygamy and stuff.
Yes.
He's a
Now,
lot.
I'm sorry. His parts were the parts where it was like you can let loose on his parts, and I swear
Mhm.
I cracked up.
Yeah,
With them women to get, oh my god, it's
I
it's
like about
it's how Jahad was describing the scenes when he walked in the house.
yeah,
I'm like, Jahad was just over it, like, oh my god, bro, get it together. Then you got your child around this.
yeah. That's kind of gonna be like how I said earlier, how I like to give myself a like an emotional break, because Saint and Aoki was supposed to be the emotional break, but from Soul Ties, but apparently it's not. Because there's some stuff
Yeah.
going on part two. But Blaze is definitely going to be an emotional break because he's a wild one.
Hmm.
Like he's kind of like he's the wild one. He's unhinged, but at the same time, he's kind of like the one that's kind of like uh animalistic. He's wild, and like he just wild and unhinged too.
And he carefree.
Yeah. So
Carefree,
that's gonna be fun. But he's gonna meet his match for sure. So that's gonna be fun.
So, and back to Soul Ties, I know we got, you know, we talk about the other characters.
Mm,
Um, Leighton ends up going into a premature labor,
mm,
and you know, Sienna encouraging her to give birth, even though they know it's, you know, the baby may not make it. I think that was one of them emotional scenes too, where, you know, she had just had her miscarriage, and
yeah.
she's, you know, encouraging Leighton to push, and she's distracting her by, you know, thinking of names that she can name the baby. And I think I cried on that because, man, that has got
Mm.
to be, oh man,
That would put me through it. Like,
that was, I know it did.
oh my God, I was emotionally drained at the end of the book. I I have never had a book take me through the emotions that that book has taken me through. Like that scene, that scene, and well, it was three scenes in that book that really, really, really got me. But that I think that one was the number one. Um, the labor. Oh my God, that. Oh Jesus, I had to take a little break after that.
Oh wow.
That was, whoo, that was heavy. But her encouraging her
Hmm.
and Leighton giving her the name that she never told anybody, like, oh, it just means child of heaven. Like, oh my God, that is so sad. Oh my God, it's so sad.
And then when she came home with the baby, I'm like, oh my god.
Like, oh my God. And it's like, Candice, where did that come from? Because I was not supposed to do that. Like, I literally, before I wrote that, because like I said, I freestyle. So as I'm writing and stuff, it's just flowing. But before I did decide to do that, I obviously, I read up on stillbirths and stuff like that. I saw
Hmm.
that. I'm like, oh no, she's not taking the baby home. Whatever. Let me go back to writing. And I'm writing. I'm like, oh my God, how is she taking this baby home? Well, I guess she's taking the baby home now. So let's go with it. Like, she took the baby home. I'm like, well,
That
it's gonna go with the book now.
that's when I realized she wasn't stable.
Mhm.
She wasn't stable. I think trying to have a baby really, it ruined her marriage, and
Mhm.
it brung out the worst in her.
Yeah.
Because it seems like, you know, Jihad, before that, you know, he talked about, you know, she's a carefree painter and she loved life, and, you know, becoming pregnant and having a baby became her focus. And he was saying, you know, she was just using him to get pregnant. They were only having sex when she was ovulating. You know, she was stay in a room painting, and then when it's time, when she's ovulating, she's on him like a, you know, like a jackrabbit. And it
And
was,
even then, it's like no passion. There's nothing. Just oh, sex. Oh, okay. Let me go.
yeah,
What I
I'm
gotta do.
just trying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm
even
just
she
trying
said
to
it
have a
too.
baby.
She said it too. Like even when she had her baby shower, she was looking around and she was just like, like usually she was the life of the party, and now it's like Farrah is kind of taking her life because she's the one that's walking around and acting like this and acting like that.
The hostess and all that.
That was Leighton. Leighton was the light. She was the one who was talking to everybody, smiling and just being carefree and doing things. But then Leighton, she lost herself, and that's why like a lot of it, it's not really even what was wrong with her. Like Jahai couldn't do anything really to help her. He could have gave her $1 million and she still would have been like the same. Like there was nothing that he could do to help her. She had to get help herself because what was wrong with her went deeper than just um, getting love from him. She needed help because constantly losing babies and stuff like that, it did a lot to her mentally. Like it broke her. She was grieving and she didn't give herself time to grieve before she was trying again.
Yeah.
So that there's a lot to a person mentally, and she kept doing it. Like she didn't give her time to process that. She didn't give herself time to process one loss before she was trying again. It just was like literally like insanity. Like okay, what's going on? And what she should have did was got help, but she didn't want to get help. And some people were saying like, oh, instead of him taking a hard path, he should have made his wife get therapy. But like, you can't force someone into therapy.
I don't think she thought anything was wrong with her.
Yeah, and you can't help someone who doesn't want to get help. Like, yeah, even if he would have said, "No, babe, I think you should go see a therapist," She would have been like, for what? I'm fine. Let's just go have this baby. She wouldn't have went because at the end of the day, she has to. She would have had to notice and recognize something was wrong with her in order to go get therapy. She wasn't like, oh, psychotic where he had to admit her. He couldn't force her into therapy. So, what was wrong with her, she had to figure it out on her own. It was a lot with her though. So
Yeah, and I think like even when she had the miscarriage, I felt like Farrah was so she didn't she was so pushy and so that's when I realized she didn't give a damn that the baby dies. Farrah emotionally was not attached to that child. She didn't want um Leighton to have that baby. And you
yeah,
can tell by her actions, like she's in the hospital recovering and you want her to have guests. It was just things like that that made me realize Farrah really wanted her to be childless and husbandless. She
yeah,
didn't want what was best for her. She just wanted her to need her.
yeah,
She wanted Leighton to need her. And that's what when I was like, it's not a friendship, it's an obsession. Like
mm-hmm,
I want her, and I don't want her to be happy with anyone but me.
yep,
And the fact that you wanted to override her husband and his his what he felt was best for his wife. You wanted to push yourself through the door when he told you, I want to be with my wife. You wanted to be in there with her. Just and it's like you're not even bringing the positive energy she
mm-mm,
needs or comforting her. You just there to cause more chaos. And I think that was the moment where I really started hating her. It was no, you can't be redeemed at that point because that's when I realized you were just selfish and you were evil. That
yeah,
was evil to me.
yeah. Fair was,
Um,
ugh.
yeah, and you see how you did that? It was like, you try and empathize with her because she did lose a husband that she had been with just as long as Jahad was with Leighton, and there was some ties there, but he left you because it was no future with you two. But the fact that you thought you can double back, and because you're not with your husband, that means that Leighton can be, what you wanted her to be. And now I'm just
And
like,
then like the fact that she tried what she tried after Leighton lost her baby, it's like,
yes.
what is wrong with you? What about me says I want you right now or at all?
She didn't want their sexual relationship to end. That's what I didn't get. Even with being married, she
Hmm.
wanted to continue their experimenting. And
Yeah,
I'm just like,
it's weird.
girl, like,
Weird.
yeah, Farrah was the worst of the worst
Hmm.
ever to me ever. I've never read a character
Seriously.
like her. But you know, we keep reading, and I'm just like, what can happen now? And when right before she went into labor, she realized that Sienna was the woman Jahad was spending time with,
Yeah.
because of the perfume and um, Jahad ignoring her when she asked questions about her. And then, when he finally tells her, and it's like, I was happy he told her. Why was I rooting for? I was rooting for this lady to be unhappy and be pissed off. Because that's how you wrote that book. It's like, how could I feel sorry for you when I found out that you and your best friend were having extracurricular activities that you guys had and then it's Farrah. He had sex with her in his house, and she's like, "Well, we did too," and I'm like, "Bruh,
Crazy.
oh my god." Like, and I think that's when the ball dropped. When I was just like, you know what, Miss Candice, stop playing with us because I can't take that enough. What else? You threw Mahogany in there, then you threw Farrah and Leighton in there, and I'm like, oh, it wasn't a one-way thing because at that point I just thought it was a one-way thing. I didn't know Leighton willingly participated in it.
Yeah,
Wow.
crazy.
That was crazy. And then the fact that you got everybody, or not everybody, but you got, your maid feeling sorry for you, not knowing that you too cheated in the
Mhm.
same spot.
Like, girl, you ain't innocent like that. You ain't too innocent. You did some dirt too.
And Rome, Rome. I don't know. I felt like, how you hear like artists, they work better together. Like uh they're more compatible when
Uh-huh.
two artists. So when I found out about Rome, I, and I saw the way Jahad acted with him, I'm like, Jahad has to know something we don't know. I think he knew how Rome felt about his wife,
Yeah, and she said
and I
it.
and I think he knew how his wife felt about Rome, and it was just like, whew, man.
Yeah.
So it's like you. I think every time we figured out something, you threw another monkey wrench in it. So and I want to talk about how a lot of things, a lot of times, people marry people and are with people they're not meant to be with.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this story told it. So it was us rooting for the mistress to be with the husband, but it was also us realizing that sometimes people just aren't compatible.
Yeah.
And sometimes we can force somebody in our life, not knowing that in the long run we're going to be miserable because it's just not meant to be.
Yeah.
And when we saw how to end, how when Leighton got with Rome and Sienna got with Jahad, we saw they were able to have healthy kids. They were
Mm-hmm.
able to, live and they're happy. Like, and on top of that, Jahad and Jahad and Sienna didn't hate Leighton.
Yeah.
He encouraged her to buy that patent from Leighton, that her first sale. And I just like
I
that
love
part
that.
right there. Was I don't want to say it was it to me. I liked it. That was the beauty of this story. It was just like, it was no hard feelings. It
Mhm.
worked out for the both of them. They both were able to go on with their lives. And you saw her, Jihad, he and Leighton were still, they weren't in contact like that, but he
Mhm.
did reach out to her on her birthday to tell her happy birthday. And it was not a friendship, so to
Mhm.
say, but it was his way of saying, I don't hate you.
Yeah, and like
And
regardless of what, like you can love someone without being in love with them. Like he will
yeah,
always, they will always love each other because like they have history. They lost children together. Like they have so much
yeah,
history, and that's like the a part in the book where I think Saint tried to say something about the first marriage didn't count. Trying to be the best man for
that
the
makes sense
new
to him.
way. John, like what you mean the first one didn't count? It does count. Like whatever.
She is my
At the end of the
ex-wife.
day, that's still, I was married to her and it counts. I'm not gonna disregard that at all. Like that she still is important. She's a very important part in my story. Like, and he
Mhm.
always love her. But just because he love her, you're not in love, but they love each other still.
And then another thing, when Leighton was breaking her down, and she was like, the doctor that she knew would help her have a safe pregnancy, he was finally available.
Hmm. Yeah, I
And
I like to
like,
do things like that in my stories. Like it's all about divine timing. It happened too.
yes,
Like it was like I feel um there was a part in the book where Jihad told Leighton, like, we're gonna come out this thing the same way we came in it, happy. And they did. They just wasn't together. So um you don't have to be with the person that you start happy with. You don't have to stay in a situation that you're not happy in. And just because you've been with the person, you can find happiness outside of that person.
yes.
Um, and just and that's not even to say that they weren't meant. Like, everyone plays a part in our stories. Maybe they were meant to be together for that period in their lives, but some people's stories just come to an end. And what did I say? I think it was a part in the book when I said the road. She was just a pathway. Leighton was like a pathway
Hmm.
to Indiana, like to, and Jahal was a pathway to Rome. Like he was always there, and Jahal always had a feeling about Rome. Like he waiting, and he always
Yeah.
feeling a hunch about him. But Leighton like, no, he not. He's literally my friend. But Jahal like, nah, I know he's literally waiting. He waiting for something. He's not just there. So I just feel like you know everyone has their moment where they will find the true happiness, and everyone like you said, the whole thing with the pregnancy, and they got their happy endings and stuff because they were supposed to at that time. They weren't supposed to before.
And on top of that, it's like some things are just meant to be.
Hmm.
Um, and I say that all the time. You can be with someone, and that's not who you're meant to be with. We see marriages where we thought these people were just so, they had it going on. They said, but internally, it's like they're miserable.
Yeah.
We see this from the outside, and to me, I would rather Jihad and Leighton not been together than for him to come home every day and be miserable with the woman he's married with. And that's what I think I understood early in the book, was that they just weren't happy.
Mm-mm.
It didn't matter what Jahad did for Leighton. She was not going to be happy with him. She
Yeah.
felt like less of a woman because she couldn't give birth to his child. And I think with Rome, when she got with Rome, she wasn't worried about having
Yeah.
kids. It was, you know, I'm taking this one day at a time
Yeah.
with him. And I was so, the ending was perfect. It it humanized them. It
Mm-hmm.
let them know you can have mistakes, but that doesn't have to be your future.
Right.
It's sometimes we read where it didn't work out. Like I expected Leighton to just be completely depressed,
Mm-hmm.
try and make his life miserable. Their divorce was easy going.
Yeah.
He didn't say they had a rough divorce. I think they both accepted that they just weren't meant to be.
Yeah, because she figured, she done did enough to him already. She didn't
Hmm.
understand that it was his fault the baby died, and it's like, come on, she
Oh
didn't.
my God, that would not that part. I'm like,
Oh, why would
and
she
I
say
think
that?
that's when he flipped. Like, I think that's when he realized they couldn't be together.
Mm-hmm.
You're blaming me for something I had no control over, and I
Yeah.
think she actually believed it.
She did. She did. That's the and then that she only believed it because she wasn't okay mentally. She needed to get help. But when she got help, she knew it wasn't her fault, his fault. Like realistically, come on, that wasn't his fault. It was,
Hmm.
you know. But again, it goes to show that she wasn't okay mentally and she needed to work on herself. And she did that, and she was able to focus on painting and stuff like that. And the pregnancy came when it was supposed to come. So yeah, that was it was a that was,
And it was like he walked that Jahad walked away from two relationships,
hmm
one with his dad and one with with Leighton, and I think he was happy. You
yeah,
finally reading where he's not that serious businessman anymore. You can see him carefree. You can see him enjoying life.
yeah,
Where it just seemed like life was beating his ass when the book first started. It was like, can this man have one day without rain? And that's what I
yeah,
was putting on him, to have one day where the sun just shine the whole day.
yeah.
Um,
And that's the thing about like me. Um, I like somebody said but my book said she like you always your characters always screwed up in the beginning. I like to build them. I like to bring them out of darkness or sorrow. Like I love to have like what you call that, character development. That's one of my favorite things to do. So with Leighton and Jihad and that situation, there was no way that she could stay depressed because she started to depress. she had to be happy, and not even just for character development, but because she deserved happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she deserved the baby. You know, she just deserved that happiness. And the same like with Jahai, and they all deserve to be happy. They all deserved grace, really. Now as far as Farrah, she didn't deserve that. That's why I kept her miserable. I kept her miserable because she didn't deserve no happy ever after.
And to wait for her to say that Leighton stole Rome from her, like what,
She
bruh? It's
crazy.
that lady was crazy. She was
Yeah.
cuckoo for cocoa puffs.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was that. Yeah, I think that right there was the twist I didn't expect. That Farrah still found a way to disrupt Leighton's life. You starting rumors
Yeah.
about me and my boyfriend with mutual friends that, and it got back to her, and I just thought, I'm like, Farrah gonna be Farrah.
Hmm.
Farrah gonna be
She
Farrah.
wanted to bother lateness some kind of way because she knew it was gonna get back to her, but she just wanted
Mm-hmm.
to
Just
penetrate
put it
her life
out there.
in some way.
Make her look like the bad person.
Yeah.
Again, while hiding how she tried to have sex with her after she had a miscarriage. I mean,
Like
Roque had to
let's
tell
just
her.
low down. What
Piece
kind of friend?
piece of work. Piece of work. So I know next you said we're gonna get the second part of Saint. I already
Mhm.
finished the first one. So when I found out it was gonna be a second part, I'm like, really, Miss, really, really.
I didn't plan for it to be. I wanted all of them to be standalones, but
Mhm.
life be life and and like I said, I freestyle. But so
Mhm.
like I always like create like a plan. I plan for this Soul Ties saga series or whatever. The rest of the books in this series was not supposed to be like so serious and heavy and stuff. Like Saint and Naoki books supposed to be fun and stuff, but it's not fun. It's emotional too.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much into Saint, but when that scene with in the sex club with Naoki, when he did, I'm like, oh my god, why would he? It's like he just wanted to be nasty to her and it backfired.
Saint is complicated. Um, like as y'all saw in in Soul Ties, Jahad went to Saint for a lot. Like, you know, he was able to open up to Saint. Saint is the person that everyone goes to open up to
Mm-hmm.
because he's a good listener. He don't talk much, but don't talk much for a reason. Um, he has things with him. Um, he's complicated, obviously. All of them complicated because of the way they were raised, and that's Samuel's fault. They were raised to not be human in certain ways, like not to show their emotions, to just take stuff on a
Yeah.
chin and stuff.
I
And but
remember it was a scene when he said, you wanted to cry on my shoulder." Like,
yeah, like
bro,
oh, what you lost your baby? What you want to do? Like, what kind of person? That's just the kind of um, stuff that they dealt with. And being like with Saint being a baby, I can't. We're not talking about Saint, but there's a lot with him. Um, the way he don't really know much, especially when it comes to women, because of the things he's into as far as the
mm-hmm.
club and stuff like that. He's never really um had like a relationship for real with a woman. He's never really seen a actual healthy marriage, even though his parents are married. Um, and then there was a line in the book when he was at the club where he said, "Everyone has a reason for being there." How when he was in the room with the girl, he has a reason for being there too. Like I said, I like to drop little Easter eggs in my book to see if y'all
Okay,
know.
okay. Because now you're gonna be in your inbox like, when is
Yeah.
Saint two coming? When is Saint two
So
coming?
he has things too. There's a reason he's into what he's into. And there's a reason why he don't know what to do with Naoki.
Because he left Naoki to try and find someone who was opposite of her.
He don't know what to do with her.
Oh
That's why he's so confused with her. He don't know what to do with her. Because yeah, he could probably go to Jihad and ask for help, but him and Jihad relationship is kind of strained because of what's going on with Samuel. But then he don't talk much. He don't, like I said, he don't talk much for a reason. And I'm gonna talk more about that in part two. Um,
Mm-hmm.
y'all gonna see. Y'all gonna like people are mad as hell at Saint, but y'all gonna love Saint at the end, at the beginning of part two. Really, I can't wait.
Oh wow. So y'all, we got a little info on Saints.
Yeah,
We can take it, take it as a nugget. But
yeah.
oh man, this was a great discussion. I learned a lot, especially about these characters. They were so
Mhm,
complicated, but I think all that complication was beauty. It was, and it's the beauty was watching them get themselves out of the situations they were in to become happy.
mhm,
And again, Pharaoh was the only person stayed miserable. um Even Samuel, we see even he has a change of heart. His way of raising his kids, it backfires on him as well.
yeah,
So we see everybody basically grow as a character, except Pharaoh, which I don't think we wanted to see her grow. We don't care. She was just that type of person.
mhm.
But this was a great read. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Um, I do think that uh that Blaze is probably going to be the one that I'm looking the most forward to, because I just want to see how you gonna write him. I want to see it,
Ooh,
because he was funny in this book,
I can't
but
wait to
he
break
was
him down.
funny, and he had like a mean side to him. He didn't respect what how
Mhm.
um Shahad left. And I remember in the scene where he says, "We need Jihad and he's not here for us." It was something of that matter when he was arguing with Saint. They
Mhm.
were getting in the car. And he was like, we come to Jihad for everything and he's not here for us.
Yeah,
Or something of that matter. I don't know the exact line. But that lets you know, like, Saint, I mean, Jihad is someone that Blaze looks up to. And I didn't expect that to come from him. So he
yeah,
holds on to his every word, like like
yeah,
he is the one who raised them. And then you find out he actually was the one
yeah.
who raised
He
them.
Jihad was more of a father to all of them
Yes,
really than Samuel
I
was.
think it was.
So it's a lot, and Blaze is the one that is going to speak his mind. Saint
Hmm.
has a lot bottled up. He's going to be quiet. He's going to have a lot of inner monologue, a lot of thoughts, like woo, 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 but he's not going to express it much because
That's
whatever.
just it.
Yeah, but he's going to have a moment, obviously. But the thing with Blaze is he's not a ticking time bomb. He's a bomb. He's he explodes right then and there. He's reckless. That's why like a part in the book where Saint was like, they'll send me to talk to Jihad because Jihad and Blaze they don't mix for real. And that, even in Soul Ties, I kind of showed parts of that where Jihad was opening up to Saint, but Blaze came and they stopped talking about it
Hmm.
because Blaze is just he's different. He's different. He's like a wild card. He's just not level headed at all. You have Saint. Saint is no, he's the one that everyone knows. He's the cool Baptist where everybody, oh look at Saint, hey Saint, everybody knows Saint. They think they know Saint, but they really don't know Saint, because he's the more social one. Jihad is kind of he's observing, he's scoping everything, he's calculated, he's watching the room, and some people know him, you know what I'm saying, but everybody knows Saint for being cool, and he has his moments, but everybody knows Blaze for being the crazy one.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um and the
Not following direction.
yeah, and the one with all the women and
Yes.
the one that doesn't want to commit. That's why I say it's gonna be fun to write about him because I'm gonna break him down. It's gonna be really entertaining.
Look forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, is there anything you want to leave us with?
Um, not really. Nothing I can really think of. Well, I can think of a few things, but well, I can't really. I really.
I think that with with all the reviews you have, I'm sure you've read everything.
Hmm.
I actually, usually be on, lurking on other literature pages, and I don't think I've been in a group yet that someone hasn't mentioned soul ties. Um, and it's a mist of anger and but girl, go read this book.
Yeah,
So I think you have the best words, like, and that's when you penned a really good book where people hate it but they love it. They'll recommend it.
yeah.
So with that being said, I want to thank you for joining us for Sister Girls Night In. And
Thank
we
you.
look forward to discussing maybe Saint 2 with you, the Saint series. I'll reach out to you about that, but I am really, really looking forward to that and Blaze and Mahogany. I think I didn't know you were doing Mahogany. I think her
Yeah.
story is probably going to be one that my mouth
Ooh,
probably going to hit the ground. Yeah, yeah, I can imagine because
it's gonna.
Mahogany just looks like or seems like from what we got out of that story, like she got a lot of skeletons.
Yeah.
And I
Ooh.
look forward to it. So thank you for joining us and we'll see you next time on Sister
Thanks for
Girl.
having me. It was fun.
Thank you.